What up, y'all? Welcome to Pics Didn't Happen. I am Fats King. I am joined, as always, by my brother, the Yeti.
What up? I just realized my lighting is not that great. Like, there's a huge shadow over here, but we're here, and it's going to be awesome, so...
You would be surprised how many people have messaged me and been upset that the room isn't blue anymore.
The room will never be blue again.
Why isn't the room blue? Anyway, any fucking way. We are joined today by somebody who I can say, without hyperbole, is one of the architects of my last 30-something years on this earth. This man has had his fingers and pieces of himself in so many different albums that I have listened to, that you have listened to, that he has listened to. We're joined by producer extraordinaire Fritz the Cat.
Hey, what up, yo? What you guys doing? It's been a while.
Yeah. Take 2, Electric Boogaloo. That's what the fuck this is. I feel like you could call the episode that, and I'd be okay with it.
True, very true, very true.
But anyway, so like when I said it, that's not a low statement. Like you have done so fucking much. Every time you pop up on screen, I always have to remember, oh shit, that's right, that's what he looks like, and it's just so unassuming. Like if you had an avatar, it would be this giant godly creature that just fucking crushes everything. But it's just this dude.
Yeah. Yep. Just me. You know.
but it was like we were talking about yesterday and a few times before. You just blend in. People just don't know who they're standing next to. They don't realize it.
Well, I mean, like I said, that it's, you know, I'll go. It's cool to go to a show and then not be able to and not have everybody like, oh, hey, and get mobbed and shit like that. But it'll be like maybe 3 or 4, like at Astro, where somebody will like bring me something. Hey, could you sign this? And I'm like, oh, cool. They recognize me. All right.
They do recognize me.
But I mean, because I'm not out there like that. I don't, push my face on Instagram and everything else and try to push like a brand that's me or anything. It's just because I'm not trying to push that. I'm just trying to, put music in front of people, so.
But that's the crazy thing. What you do, unless you're someone like, I don't know, DJ fucking Khaled, you're not supposed to be known. You're not supposed to be in the videos shouting out your name and shit. So, the quiet cool is more mafia-like. And I just feel like producers nowadays, there's a lot of them that are too busy trying to like become famous. And there are some that are doing it right, C-Lance and a couple other cats, but you let your work speak for itself. You don't have to tell anyone who the fuck you are.
And I'd prefer it to be that way, because it's like, again, I'm not trying to make like a brand that's, my face out there. It's
No, but you could totally do like a dead mouse thing and just wear like a fucking cat head.
Well, yeah, I suppose, but then then you're stuck with wearing a cat head around, and then and then if you decide, if you decide, you'd be like, well, fuck, this is mighty inconvenient.
Now I'm stuck wearing this fucking cat head everywhere.
Right, that was a good choice.
Not to mention like the extra luggage fees when you try to travel with that damn thing.
Well, right. What are they going to do? Is the airline going to let you wear that? Like, well, no. That's my gimmick. I got to wear this.
At all times.
It's my COVID mask. You can't catch it from me in this.
Yeah, and they're like, yeah, okay, step over here, sir, and pull your britches down.
Okay, so
the slight there over to the hiding behind a mask and the doing the live DJing there. If you weren't producing music, was there anything else that you thought about getting into?
Well, I mean, I've been doing music since I was a kid, and I also have done like home improvement shit, and that's like the 2 things that I kind of do now. Because when the dudes go on tour, I'm fixing people's houses. and it's like, and even if I was making $1 gazillion, I'd still do that because I enjoy doing it. It's like, it's
So
kind of,
you were like a Swiss Army knife for them boys. You do all their music, you take care of all that shit, and you fucking fix their houses when they're not around. Who wouldn't know?
and I do shit for at the studio too. I put in like a wall with a sliding door in it to like kind of get the studio blocked off, and then did our our vocal booths to build the soundproofing in there and shit. Like, it's
just a jack of all trades.
I dabble in everything. So
we need like a this old house
With Fritz.
yeah.
Well, maybe when noise comes down and I got him chained to the radiator here, then maybe we'll do something like that. This old dungeon.
This old dungeon. Oh shit. Okay, so, but you said you've been doing this for years. How did you even get started? Like, how does one decide that they're going to be a producer? Like, I'm sure there is a long trail that got here, but like, fuck it, tell us.
I mean, I was in a band in high school, and I was saying,
what was the band's name?
we were talking yesterday. We were the Regulars, and we I mean, for a long time we sucked, but it didn't matter because we were just did it for shits and gigs, all cover songs, no originals, just a bunch of hardcore punk shit, Dead Kennedys, Replacements, Husker Du, all this shit. So fucking loud, obnoxious, standing. I remember standing like ankle deep in beer in somebody's basement with just like 30 kegs and drunk people everywhere. But that was great.
I miss those shows.
So that's kind of where I came from. But then I went to school for electronics, and then I took a physics class it's like the science of musical sound, and it was like hitting a crack pipe. It was like, that's where it's at right there. So back then there weren't like a gazillion recording schools like there are now, and so I went to one in Detroit, the Recording Institute of Detroit, with the sole idea of just to be an engineer, because I like the tech side of shit. I don't, I wasn't like, I'm not looking to be a producer. I remember even telling the guy, I was like, I'm not, looking to, produce shit for people. I just want to engineer shit because I like the technology. And then that turned into, working with all kinds of fantastic producers, be like, well, that's not, it's not rocket science. Plus, that's a new way for me I don't have to have a full band with people. I can do a lot of the shit myself, but it's still nice to kind of collab with people. And so when Twisted was like, hey, do you do production? I was like, okay, well, yeah, well, here's some shit. And the first thing I did for them was Mutant X, the beat for that. And they were like, awesome, okay, well, let's run with this.
No shit. I found out about Twisted a little bit later, as far as like as being a juggalo. Like I heard them on Echo Side, and I didn't know that there was a Most Tasteless. First time I heard them was Freak Show, and Mute Next was the first fucking song I ever heard. I did not know that.
Yes, that's the very first thing I did for them, very first piece of production. And then a lot of the album was us working together on stuff, because they, Jamie's always loved to find weird samples, and then Paul plays, so then all three of us were like getting together to do shit. But that was Mutant X was the first. They're like, do you have any beats, basically? And I was like, here, how about this? And they're like, that's exactly what the fuck we're looking for. So that started that whole.
I'll do you one better. That was actually my entrance theme when I was doing backyard wrestling.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah, I fell on many a thumbtack with that song playing in the background.
What better song to get your skull split open with a folding chair?
Right.
Just like if they would have had YouTube and the internet back when we were young, you could have been superhuman. It could have been.
Oh no! Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. That dude's famous now, and good for him for finding his lane. Hey. But that is not a comfortable lane, and no one else wants to be in that.
There's a question.
Good luck. Congratulations, being the first and only you. But so you worked with them on, and it's funny. The reason why I bring this up is I tried to find a comprehensive list of all the things you've worked on, and it doesn't exist. It does not. It doesn't fucking exist. It's not there. And you had said it yesterday, and I want people to know why the fuck can't they find that?
Well, Discogs has shit on there, but it is literally spread across a bunch of different pages because people can't get my name right. So it's like they try to, it'll be one thing if it's just Fritz the Cat, or then they'll fuck up my last name, or so it all depends. But there's like on Discogs, there's like I think 4 or 5 different pages. One of them they tried to like compile everything. But it's a mess because it's when people accredit it, you know, I still joke about the gazillion things people call me. Hey, Spritz or Prince or Chris or Frenchie or Mr. Frisbee. That was another one. It's like they're like,
what?
It's just too hard to learn, man. You know, whatever. So you know,
white wine spritzer.
Yeah, now, but at least now they'll send like the credits to me and be like, is this how you want it? And I'm like, yes, the same way I've always wanted it. It's just that people not one of the very first projects I worked on, the dude ended up owing me money, and when the album came out, my name was butchered. I'm like, great, you know, didn't get paid and they fucked my name up. So thanks, man. Appreciate it.
But you know, but that's a lesson. I bet that guy never got to work with you again, and I'm sure his career went fucking nowhere.
Well, he was a guy who did his brother owned, he might still own it, owned a comedy club here in the Detroit area, and he did like almost like a Weird Al kind of thing where he'd make, you know, novelty songs and shit like that. So but this project that he wanted to do was going to be a more serious project, but he just didn't bother to tell people that. So all people are expecting, you know, all these funny songs, and it's a serious country album, and they're like, okay, well, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's not gonna do it. I actually posed a question on my Facebook the other day. Fuck it, we're here, we're talking about it. You mentioned the name. Do you think that a horrorcore act similar to Weird Al would work? Like, perfect example. Instead of chicken hunting, it's like truffle hunt. A song about looking for delicious mushrooms.
Yo, truffles are.
I mean, you know, you could give it a try.
No, it won't be me. I have no talent.
Well, I'm just saying, in a hypothetical, whoever the person doing it could give it a try, and it could be either warmly accepted, or you could get hit with a jar full of piss when you go out in public. So you're rolling the dice.
You were definitely taking a shot at that one.
There's that new documentary that's coming out with Daniel Radcliffe in it on Weird Al.
That's not a documentary; it's an actual movie.
Oh yeah, a full movie actually. Yeah, you're right. But you know, on his life, and just from the trailer, I was like, there was clips of like Weird Al where he was kind of like a dick, and I was like, hold up, I thought Weird Al was like this funny, hilarious guy that's, you know, not human, because that's what we did to celebrities before the age of the internet, and now we find out the truth about Weird Al.
Weird Al's just a super douchebag, you know. Oh well.
I hope that's not the case, because he just seems like a genuinely great human. The next album you worked on was Green Book, for Twisted anyway.
Mirror.
I did that. I can't believe I skipped Mirror. It's funny, Paul, because you were talking about this the other day. People forget about Mirror.
I don't think they forget about it. Somebody was talking about it. To me, it actually is one that's one of my favorites, probably just because it was like a small victory for me, because I got that like a week or two before it was supposed to actually be out, because I happened to be randomly in Atlanta for an art club trip back in high school, and some random CD store in the mall was like, hey, do you guys got the new Twisted CD? And we're like, there's no new Twisted CD. What are you talking about? He's like, no, we got this new one. We just put it out. It's not supposed to be out yet, so don't tell anybody. And we bought every copy they had and then took them back to Indiana with us.
Well, I think the reason why it gets glossed over a little bit is because it's an actual EP considering and everything else is an actual full album. Now I don't think that fucking matters, but I feel like sometimes people omit that because of that reason. But so Mirror Mirror was the next thing you worked on. One of the greatest fucking tracks on that album is Left Field. That beat for those lyrics, it's so perfect. It's such a great fuck you. You even if you never heard the lyrics attached to it, you can hear the fuck you in the beat.
Well, that's how music's supposed to work, It's supposed to tell a story even without a story behind it, Like I was saying yesterday with that found that just ruthless ass song, dude's rapping in Italian and I have no fucking clue what he's talking about, but I guarantee you he has strong feelings about it because it's like, holy shit. Okay, I feel you, bro.
It is weird because he wanted us to interview a German hip hop guy, and it is so weird to think about how like it's hard enough to rap in English. I cannot imagine how hard it is to be fucking stringing, flipping fucking syllables and shit in a language my tongue doesn't even understand. It boggles my mind. And some of these guys who can do it, like you hear some of these Hispanic rappers and like they'll switch back and forth between their fucking their English and their Spanish. And then I heard a British rapper who actually sounded like the guys from Austin Powers, like yeah, he was rapping it like apples and pears for stairs. Like he was doing that, and it's so weird the way different cultures interpret hip hop.
Yeah, but they all embrace it though. God damn it.
They do. So. And the only other music that I can see that the whole world has embraced the same way is rock and roll.
Right.
Moreover, so punk rock. That's just my own personal feelings. Because there's funk in every language.
Yes, as there should be. As there should be.
As there should be. Rap and punk are so very fucking close to being the same thing. It's just done with a different style, but it's the same amount of rebellion and the same amount of social discourse and all that business. I didn't mean to soapbox there, but I felt like I had to state that. And we talked about this yesterday, but I'll bring it up again. Fat Kids is one of my favorite fucking songs ever written because I'm a fat kid. When he told you, did you already have that beat picked out before the song?
Jamie wanted me to make a beat for Fat Kid. So he requested something that sounded like a fat kid, and so I tried to deliver a song that sounded like a fat kid. So you could have used like samples of like shit bags rustling and shit, but
I can hear a fat guy walking while it plays. I'll just put it that way.
That was the whole idea behind it. So that was what you're supposed to envision when you listen to it. So good, it worked.
It fucking worked. But you've worked with Blaze, you've worked with Boondocks. Like when I said you were an architect of everything I've listened to in the last like 15, 16 years, even longer, it wasn't just Twisted I was talking about. You have helped build the cathedral that was, that era Psychopathic Records.
I mean, I had I forget what year it was, but it was just absolutely, I was doing everything. I was doing Blaze, I was doing Twisted, I was doing ABK. We had Lotus, there's all this shit that that you work on and you just kind of get through it and don't think about it, and then later you're looking like, oh wow, I did all that shit at one time. And I think after that was when I know with Twisted started trying to bring in other producers because they just didn't want it to get played out, so
absolutely.
same type of thing. And it was like with the same way with Blaze and ABK, where it was just, but for that one hunk of time, it was like, because Mike Clark wasn't doing anything with the Clowns, so he couldn't do anything with any of the other dudes. So it was like, give us beats. So I was just like, slanging beats.
You was the beats dealer. You was the beats man.
And so I understood when they're like, yeah, well, we're just don't want it to get played out. I'm like, oh, I got it. So, so it comes and goes, sometimes they'll use, people use like a lot of my shit, and then other times they won't. But I mean, it doesn't really matter to me, because I'm not trying to, you can't force it. If you give somebody something that they can write to, if they hear a song to and can write to it, that's fantastic. If that isn't fitting with like what they're trying to do at the moment, that's no big deal either, because then I end up with this whole stockpile of stuff that I can put online or shop to other people. So I've literally got just hundreds of songs just partially completed, some stuff mostly done. I've actually been trying to tinker with doing a Fritz tape with all my beats with a bunch of different artists. So that's getting dabbled with. I mean, that might actually happen.
That's a great fucking idea. Well, you said that you were working on all of this so much and so fast, you didn't get time to take back and be like, wow, I really accomplished something. Was there ever at any of that time, was there ever like when you finished the track, you stepped back and you knew that this was going to be like an underground anthem, an underground masterpiece, something that we're gonna chant and sing for the next fucking 15 years?
Not really, because the way it's always worked is, okay, when we were doing Freak Show came out, it was the biggest piece of shit ever because it wasn't most tasteless. Then when we did Mirror Mirror, we were just pieces of shit because Mirror Mirror was a hunk of garbage because it wasn't Freak Show. And you rinse and repeat, and you end up with, it just seems like everybody hates whatever's new because it isn't. They were expecting what the last project that they loved was. So. It wasn't
that though. You can't box up an artist like that. That's not fair to them. Like, we as fans, we demand so much of these people that we shouldn't take it so fucking personally when they decide, I'm tired of making the same shit for 20 fucking years.
Right. And I mean, if you were rehashing the same thing for 20 years, you'd have plenty of people that are like, why does all this shit sound like like the same? It all sounds the same. So
that's my biggest complaint about Nickelback. Everything they put out sounds like the song before.
Well, I guess it's kind of lucky that I'm not Nickelback then, because
that's because Canada sucks. And if you can hear me, noise, if you can hear me, Canada sucks. It's bizarro world, and you and your poutine can go fuck itself.
I frequently go down to the Detroit River and shout to Canada. Now, what flips his wig every time he's here is when he realizes that you can be in Detroit, look due south to Canada. He's like, what type of witchcraft is that? I'm like, well, it is kind of freaky. You're looking south out of Michigan into Canada. That ain't really right, but
no, that's kind of fucking weird.
Yeah, that's geography though.
For those that don't know, we're talking about and ridiculing our Canadian friend Noise 13. It's always fun to make fun of you, Shane. I wish you were here so I could do it to your face, because it feels so good.
But we do indeed love him.
We kid because we love. I tell him and I tell everyone, it's nothing but disrespect, but it's all love.
Yes, exactly. It's a disrespectful love. Yes, exactly.
You got anything you want to add, Paul?
I mean, we were just talking about different influences through music and sort of things like that. Besides the music itself and being into music, was there any influence from your parents or anybody in your family to look at music, or is it just something you picked up yourself?
Well, it's my dad's side of the family. They were all musical. I got a second cousin who wrote like a shitload of jingles in Chicago in like the 60s and 50s and 60s. So that was like his thing, he wrote jingles. So, and they'd get together and have these family gatherings, and then everybody would pick up an instrument. So that was kind of one of the things that he did, he wanted me to at least learn how to play something. But like I was saying yesterday, he had to pick the, just to make sure that I could make sure to get laid. He taught me how to play ukulele and banjo because you're a cool motherfucker if you show up somewhere with a ukulele.
I mean, you were just ahead of your time. You were just ahead of your time. Mumford and Sons. You were just
exactly. At that point in time, though, that would be good for an ass whipping right there. If you show up to a gig with a ukulele, like who the fuck is that? Get him.
They're gonna ask if you're gonna bust into Tiptoe Through the Tulips, all Tiny Tim style.
Mm-hmm. So.
That's a creepy looking motherfucker, by the way. Google that shit. So, is there any artist right now, living or dead, that you would like to make an album with?
Living or dead? Oh my God, that just takes a whole.
Fuck it. Let's just leave it at dead. Dead.
A dead artist. A dead artist I would like to work with. I've never really thought about that, so I'd have to ponder that to come. I've never thought like, you know what? If I could pay a Haitian witch doctor to raise this man.
What about a zombie meatloaf? That'd be great, wouldn't it?
A zombie meatloaf, yeah, but I mean, he's that's kind of recent, you could, it'd be dope to do some shit with, Hendrix. That would be some shit right there. So,
it would just be Bones with a guitar and a fucking purple jumpsuit.
Well, Hendrix X Beethoven, like that collab, boom.
That's a collab right there.
That is right there.
Beethoven builds the beat. Yeah, no. We'll come back to this before this is over. Leave this in your head. I'll ask this again before we go. All right. This is what I thought about yesterday, and I wished I would have asked, but I'm going to ask now. If you had a Fritz action figure, what would the accessories be?
Well, it would come with a vehicle that had so much bass in it that the bumper just falls off all the time. That's really all I ask for, So.
He just wants the little vehicle with a bumper.
Yeah, you just put me in there, and then it's just shit falls off of it. It'd be awesome.
That's like great. An $80 play set. So get a hold of SH Figuarts, and I'm in. I will buy it.
Okay.
I've often wondered what I would come with as an action figure, and it would just be a word bubble with curses and a bowl of weed.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Well, that works.
What about you, Paulie? What do you think your action figure would come with?
I mean, probably just like a camera, and like that's probably it.
Disappointment.
Yeah,
just a camera.
Disappointment and back pain.
his action features, you push his button and he touches his back.
Oh, fuck! Oh my God!
Oh, we're old. All right, your turn.
Well, so I guess really my favorite thing to do is just to ask off the wall types of questions that totally annoy the hell out of my co-host here. So
that's what we do here. You bother the fuck out of me.
Yes. So, Fritz, did you work out this morning?
Did I work out this morning?
Yeah.
I did not work out. I drove over to the east side to look at a job. But the added bonus is last weekend I was in Pennsylvania and ran into some poison ivy, and I am fucked up. I got a leg that looks like a horror movie prop. So I got that shit going on. So, no workout, but I had to drive over to the east side, and the whole time, I got my leg that's drooling and itching and all that shit. So, but I didn't work out, no.
All right. Well, I mean, we talk about wrestling a lot, and I know, Fats, you've actually tried this before. Have you ever tried yoga or anything like that?
Have I ever tried yoga?
It's quite beneficial for a big guy.
but I like when I'm up north, I walk every day because in the city everything's paved. Around here there's no terrain, so it doesn't do any good. When I'm up north, you got trees, you got hills, you got cliffs, you got rivers, so you got shit to look at. So I'll get out and move around in the city. Yeah.
What kind of cabin you got up there?
It is on 7 acres. My dad built it in 1963, and he had to bring all the materials over the lake on a sled or by boat, because you can't drive to it. You have to take a boat to get there, and it has no electricity and running water. So that's when, like I was saying yesterday, you have to go up on a hill to get a cell signal if you want to like connect to the rest of the world. But most of the time, fuck the rest of the world. You're just
that's
chilling
why
in
you're
the
there.
cabin.
You're trying to get out.
See,
Right.
I was actually surprised there was actually islands up in Michigan. It's only recently I realized that there was islands up there. Is that like somewhere? Is that like there's a lot of tourist activity up there, or is that just more just sort of they're just there and nobody really cares?
Well, see, there's a guy that I knew in high school. His family owned an island in Lake Superior. They've been trying to sell it for years, but they just managed to sell it, I believe, this year. So Autrain Island in Lake Superior, his family used to own it. And I always thought, like, man, if I had the money, I'd buy my own island, secede from the Union, and get like a warship to patrol around it, and then just be like, fuck it, Fritz land.
Fritz land.
But then,
I mean,
when you start thinking about what's involved with like living on an island, then you're like, I'm not paid like that. So,
No,
that takes a whole lot of doing to make shit happen on an island. So,
Yeah, I mean, it was expensive up there. It was like, a couple $1,000s just to get water hooked up in the city. I would hate to think of like trying to do that on an island.
right. Yeah. Oh, electricity out to an island. Like you just have to have your own like wind turbine and solar, unless the sun's not shining and you're fucked. Where's your internet come from?
2 sticks rubbing it together, the old way.
Yes.
Now, bringing it back to music, this is something we've never had to be able to get really intimate in this subject with us, specifically on producing. We have talked to a lot of artists who either have a producer or themselves have had to become a producer. It's not something that they wanted to do; they just did it because they didn't have someone like you to fucking put a gold touch on all their tracks. What are some easy mistakes that you see a lot of first-time producers make that you could, give them a little heads up here on, Fritz's do's and don'ts?
Well, I mean, the tight beats are like kind of where it's at now, where you do, because people, instead of creating just for the sake of creating, a lot of it's done now where, okay, well, because back in the day, I'd be making music that I was playing in a band. We never released anything because it was all covers. So, we had a bunch of tapes of us playing live or shit, but we never thought about, recording an album or putting anything out because it's just too, there's too much involved in that. Now, where you can just get shit out there, people are like trying to bypass the whole develop, do music just for the sake of doing it. It's like, yeah, I've been making beats for a month now, and what's the best place I can start selling them? It's like, maybe you should like work on expressing yourself through your music a little more, rather than try to like, well, nobody's I'm gonna do type beats because that's where all the views are at. It's like, well, that's not really the artistic side of music. I understand why people do it, because everybody wants to be, hey, look at me, I'm like,
the instant gratification that comes.
Yeah, it's like people, I think nowadays need to be more, I guess, more introspective on it. Spend more time.
There needs to be more time setting and enjoying the finished product than the rush to get to it.
Right, because it's even when people will have me listen to stuff that that's obviously like raw, you never like, well, that sounds like shit. It's like, and I think that's a mistake that people do, is instead of taking the time to like polish stuff, they just want to get something out just to, just for the sake of it being out. But once you're out there, you can never take that shit back. So whatever you come out with, if it's some rough, raw, rugged shit that people later are going to be like, that first thing that he did, I don't know about that. So I think it's an instant gratification thing where, the ADD people just want to be like, now, everything now. Short songs, fast songs about nothing, quick. So
No,
that would be my advice.
Whatsoever.
Spend some time, relax a little bit, enjoy the process.
These are wise words coming from a wise man, and you should fucking listen.
Yeah.
There's your book. There's your book, Fritz. You should fucking listen.
Yeah, that's a great way to have people. I'm fucking listening to him.
Who's this guy?
Who the fuck is he? That Spritz character.
That white wine spritzer guy. So what are some things, some positive things you can tell people that they should do?
Well, I mean, like I said, find your own voice. Fuck around and just do shit. Find out, because everybody's got something that they're a little bit different or a little bit better at than somebody else. Develop that. Look, try to figure out what your sound is, or what your and not try to like force it. Like, well, I'm just gonna do this so that it's just because it's different than what other people are doing. That can be kind of cool, but
I'd like to add to that something else. And I'm not a musician or a rapper or a producer, so my opinion means dick. But I just like to add to this that play around with shit. Not everything you're doing is meant to be sold. Not everything you're doing is meant to become a great hit. Whether you care for the band or not, the song "Nothing Else Matters," James Hetfield wrote those guitar strings on the phone, just bullshitting with his guitar, with his talking to his girlfriend. So you never know what you're gonna get when you just experiment. Not everything you're making is meant to be consumed as far as sold or needs to be kicked off to the next dude. Fuck around, enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, because I've literally, like I was saying, I've literally got like hundreds of songs started that I'll sit down, work on it a little bit, and as soon as I feel like I'm kind of forcing stuff, I'll just move on to something else, and then I just come back to it. And then it's always just, I'll go back and like, okay, what's the oldest? And, revisit some shit. It will never see the light of day. Other shit gets finished and gets pushed out. So it's like, it doesn't have to be, sit down, write a fucking smash hit in, an hour, and then that's it. There's some shit just takes a long ass time to develop, but,
You were talking about a tape. You were wanting to do a Fritz tape. What are some of the artists you'd like to have on that if you could put it out?
Well, I mean, all the usual
Suspects.
All the usual suspects, all my MNE peeps, of course, got to get Noise Poutine, got to get him on there.
I'm gonna go change his name in the group chat when we're done with this.
So it's a process, and we're I'm trying to figure out who exactly, because I mean there's some people that I have worked with in the past that it'd be nice to kind of reach out to, because it's more like a Fritz and Friends type of thing that I'm trying to put together, rather than just snag a bunch of people randomly to get it on there, because it's fun. It's gonna be fun. So
I'm very interested in this. If this is something that comes to light, you'll definitely get my money on it. But
dope. Okay.
That's one sale. That's all you need.
That's all I need, really.
It's funny. You were talking about, again, this is the yesterday, but we'll come back to it. You said that the homie Noise, you said he's tried to bring you some artists before, and they've been intimidated by you, and that just seems like, I don't understand why anybody would be intimidated. I understand the work, but like if someone has told you that someone wants to work with you, don't be scared, homie. Just send that message.
Yeah, it's a little weird it's and I don't know. I just don't know, and and it might just be an artist thing too, because we run into it with, like, Blaze will want to do a session, so he calls George and has George get a hold of me, so it's this big circle, and it's like, you got my number, homie, why don't you just call me?
There's no need for these.
But I think he's just used to, okay, well, I'm going to talk to my manager to have him set it up. It just adds an extra loop onto it with, it's like, George has got enough shit going on, just we don't need to put him in the loop for that. So, but again, it's an artist thing. They're all.
Now, we covered this yesterday, but we have to cover it again. We want to talk about the digital MC, as it were. What was his name? It's NF Mecca.
It's FN Mecca, so it would be F and Mecca.
That's even worse. Now that you've explained that to me.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts on this? This AI MC.
It's a novelty. It's like, with like a computer generated art, it just lacks its music and stuff like that is an expression that humans use to relay emotion. And you can make an algorithm that'll spit the shit out, but if there is no emotion to begin with, it's just kind of weird, Well,
it's like when you listen to Wu-Tang, they did that shit they're talking about. Wow. You didn't do anything, computer guy.
Right. Well, here's the thing, though. If we get to the point where AI can actually, have that emotion and can have those experiences and can express those things that way, I could see this working, far in the future. However, I hope that never happens, because that's terrifying.
Yeah. Well,
we're already worried about computers taking our jobs. Are they going to worry about them taking our art too?
They're going to take our
sons of bitches.
They took our emotions.
Now they want our coat, our shoes, and our pants.
It's funny you bring that up. Today is the day that Skynet launches.
Oh, is it?
Oh, it is?
It is.
Oh, well.
And where the fuck are my flying cars, man?
Yeah, no, I don't even have a laser shotgun or anything.
No, okay, no, that's funny though, because you're a few years older than us. What is the level of disappointment you guys have in the future when they were telling you that, like, the moon was like was supposed to be like the beginning of everything,
right?
Like what they were talking about.
It's just been years of disappointment. However, when I was going to school in the 80s, it were late 70s and early 80s, it was legit. You would, okay, well, fucking Russia is going to bomb us. So, here's what you can hide underneath your desk. We got to teach you this, but essentially you're going to get incinerated. It's like,
I want to know.
That's reassuring.
When they told you can hide under your desk, you as an intelligent human, you went, that's not going to work, right? Like
Well, yeah, but you can't really say that. So, you kind of have to say yes, sir, no, ma'am.
That was a different time.
Well, that'll help. Oh, yes. Is this a lead desk? And that could be that too. So.
It really could. All right, I got a good one for you since we brought up the past. What would you tell young Fritz to keep him on the right path if you could go talk to him?
Oh, shit. Well, maybe listen to advice given you. I when I was a senior in high school, my mom said, yeah, there's this guy that my friend knows that goes to her church, but he's into music, And, I thought it'd be kind of cool if, is it cool if he talks to you? I'm like, well, sure. Well, come to find out, it was the fucking Rolling Stones road manager, Chooch McGee, who, when he wasn't on tour, was up in Marquette, Michigan, hiding out because that was just a serene place to be. And I wish to God I would have used him, because he was like, I can get you into any recording school you want to get into. But I was like, because everybody had told me there's no money in music, so I was going to get into electronics. So I could have jump started a couple more years using him, to get me over. So that would have been cool. But, what do you know when you're 18? I know better. I know more than the Rolling Stones road manager. So.
Oh, the hubris on that one.
Yes.
My son, actually, he knows pretty much everything at this point. So
yep.
I don't talk to anyone under the age of 17 because it's not worth my time. I will feel dumb and walk away scratching my head.
Yeah, I mean,
dinosaurs.
Get off my lawn. Get off my lawn.
Get off my, just was it with an angry shaking fist.
I mean,
now, we were talking about this, and I'll bring this up again. You really had said it yourself. You don't like the idea. It's not even that you don't like it. You don't want to have to work with giant artists or big name people. You like the idea of giving people a leg up. People who wouldn't necessarily have that.
Yeah, I just hate to see, like young artists get taken advantage of, thinking they got to spend a shitload of money for somebody who maybe isn't gonna help them out. No, I've run into that. I've run into that a lot, where they bring people to the studio, these supposed, they develop talent, and it is just like this one dude. I hated working with him because he'd run this scam on these young girls, where like, oh, I'll make you a star, and his music sucked. He couldn't write music to save his life. Every song sounded the same, but he could sell the idea that I'm going to make you a star. And again, if the first project you ever put out is a piece of shit, you're going to have to spend your whole life fighting against that. So it's like, I like to be able to be like, listen, my beats are not, it's not going to cost you a fortune for it. My engineering isn't going to cost you a fortune. I'm not trying to soak people for shit, but obviously I need to get paid for my time. But I love helping young artists get a good product so that it can come out the way they'd want it to come out, and not have to be like, well, I had to do everything myself, even though I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and then it sounds shitty. Or I had to pay all this money for some shyster to fucking, take all my money and not even give me shit. So that's how I ended up. It was last year or the year before last, when I worked with Trick. I mastered his album because he paid a bunch of money to a guy. The guy was supposed to hire this other guy to master the project, but figured if I do it myself, I can just keep all the money. And it was totally shitty. So it was like, well, that worked out good for me, but that's just fucking shitty to do to people.
Yeah, no, that's trifling as fuck. And but with you taking that attitude, that's why we jokingly we call you Rap Dad, but that's kind of what you're trying to do. And I don't even mean like you're trying to sun people. It's just you want to help people, and seeing someone in your position who feels that way, that's really fucking cool.
Well, I mean, it used to be back in the studio days, what you'd do is you'd get, you'd have an engineer, and then you'd get an intern, and then you'd see if they're going to work out, because I've had a shitload of interns that is like, you're never working anywhere. So, but then you'd have an engineer, and then you'd train an assistant, and then you kind of work, it'd be like this mentor relationship. Well, in my day, they quit doing that shit because it's like, well, we make more money if it's just one dude doing the session rather than paying two guys. So then it kind of lost the whole mentorship thing. So, where you'd have, in a lot of other trades is where you have apprentices, where you have somebody with a bunch of knowledge, you can pass it on. That a lot of that shit doesn't happen anymore, where you're not having like, older artists helping out younger artists, or older engineers helping out younger engineers, because it's just like every man for himself, and everybody thinks they know everything. So it's just, I'd much rather have someone with like a Noise 13 that's willing to listen to me and be like, here's what I think you should do, but just to help people out, to help them get over, rather than just take advantage of everybody. So
that really brings up an interesting question, because I was not expecting where this went. Would you ever consider teaching a class on what you do?
well, I mean, I suppose, but I don't know if I'd be that good of a teacher, because I'm more of I just do shit rather than explain it. So I think there'd be a lot of very confused people being like, well, what the fuck is he doing? So it's
6 wires randomly.
yeah,
I don't
right,
know.
because I mean, it's like muscle memory. I just do shit rather than try to explain it. So, and I know other people other engineers that do teach classes are way better at explaining shit than I am. So I just kind of do it. So
Okay.
But yeah, but for $19.95 or the subscription to Fritz Beats.
There you go.
I'm sure we can get a production team together to launch the YouTube Instructable Fritz
Yep.
Beats and
Yep.
we do it.
Yeah, and then they're like, well, how come it's just like I'm paying to have him stream the shit live, but he's never doing it. He was like playing video games and checking his email for like 2 hours.
No, but I think that would actually, you'd be surprised how many hits that would actually get. But so the whole reason why I really wanted to talk to you, and we've said this a few times, but I wanted to overall make this understood. Besides Mikey Clark, besides Mike P, you were the other side of the musical elements of Psychopathic Records, and I want you to get your flowers. I know you don't. I know you're not worried about being recognized per se at shows, but fuck it, you should be.
Well, I appreciate that. I do. And the people that are able to pick me out, I'm like, well, that's cool, because at least somehow I'm visible enough so that they'd be like, hey, that's that guy, which would mean that they'd have to like actually know what I've done, because I don't, I do some shit like this, but I'm not like out there, doing my own show every week where it would be, I'm bombarded on people. So the people that do know me have taken the time to find out who I am. So that's cool,
If I see you at Fright Fest, I'm gonna hold up a sign that says, "This is Fritz the Cat."
He's gonna call you out.
Okay.
From the crowd.
Well, yeah. Well, what happens if I'm wearing my Fritz the Cat brand mask?
He's wearing the cat mask. Oh God. Oh, it's Halloween. It'll be perfect. All right. That's like all I fucking got, man. I can't thank you enough for doing this again.
Hey, it's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
We will have you back on in the future. I have a feeling when we have Shane on for his new album drop, when that eventually happens, we'll have him bring you with him, because it's just so much fun to make fun of him better when he's here.
Yeah, it is, because he's all polite and Canadian, and he's not used to people
I like making him say
busting his ball.
I like making him say sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay. Anyway. So if they so choose, where can they find you on this vast ocean of social media?
At FTC Music Labs, MUSIKLABZ, and that's on Instagram and Facebook. I do have a website, www.ftcmusiclabs.com and .net. They both go to the same place. If you want to hit me up via email, fritz@ftcmusiclabs.com. So I'm easily reachable and usually respond to people as long as they're nice to me. So
don't be a dick. Get your fucking music.
Don't be a dick.
Get your fucking music touched by a master. It's very simple. You just explained how you do it. If you're watching this, that's how you do it. If you want to find us, you can go to @PicsDidn'tHappen official for the Instagram shit. That is run by my lovely fiance. She gets all the credit for that. That's where we got our best foothold, but whatever. we are at Pics It Didn't Happen on YouTube, at Pics It Didn't Happen on Facebook. And I'm sure if you type it in enough times, you'll tag us, because that's part of the reason why I picked the name.
Yeah, we keep getting random tags. I got one today.
Yeah, me too. I didn't know who the fuck that was.
I don't know.
Weird Russian dude. I was like, cool. I should put the link. I should put the link to the show.
I tried to use the translate on the entire comment thread, and well, Google, you suck so bad.
Yeah. You can find me. I am Fats King on Instagram and YouTube and fucking Facebook. Where can they find you there, Paulie?
I mean, you can find me at Yet a Night on Instagram, Facebook. I just got my personal profile.
Type in Paul and see where you get.
You might be able to find me. I mean, you can try. We also, I got a Yet a Night or a Facebook, but I don't really use it because Facebook's weird and why.
It is. The other thing I want to say, if you happen to find yourself in New Haven, Indiana on September 23rd and 24th, Carl's Taverns, Nasty Bash 6. It's the sixth fucking time we've done this. I will be hosting with my giant friend, Scotty Vance, Scotty motherfucking V. He makes me feel small. That tells you how big he is. This is going to be a dope ass night. Come out, enjoy the show. 2 fucking nights of it. There's still tickets available, and some of the best wings you will ever eat. I will put their wings in a competition with anyone, and Carl's is going to win every time.
The wings is almost like an opening act before the opening act. So
it really is. I want to post that. I want to go to their website and be like, the wings are an opening act before the fucking show.
It's all you. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.
Me and Fritz had just finished working on a banger. This crazy joint sampling Anne Murray. It was insane. We were heading out to the studio, going up to parking lot. We're gonna get some barbecue to celebrate finishing up recording Gonzo. Pull up to Fritz's car, just thinking about the food. When all of a sudden, a van pulled up and Anne Murray jumped out the back, packing double gats, calling us rats, screaming about the sample, said she's about to handle. Anne Murray's that bitch, different kind of animal. Shot me in my knee as I died for the cover. Anne Murray's a gangster grandmother. Took off with the quickness, shouting, get my money, bitches. Kidnapped my dog and sent me ransom pictures. Well, folks, fuck around and find out. And what we found out is Anne Murray's a motherfucking gangster. Maple syrup murderer with the voice of a songbird. Anne Murray is not to be fucked with. And before I could get the money together, and before I knew it, well, it was round 2. Oh shit, back again with the battalion. Fritz got hit in the feet, and I can hear him howling. She put a bullet in my shoulder. Bitch is way colder than the North Pole, bitch. That's also bipolar. Anne Murray kicked my teeth out. Then she took a weed out, lit up a blunt, and then she peaced out. Yelling once again, you little bitches, get my money. And Murray's a gangster, and nothing's even funny. That bitch was nuts. That bitch was crazy. A fucking Canadian gangster legend. Anne fucking Murray.